Welcome to our Thursday night live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics. And every Monday, we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time it's Thursday and I don't know what to do with my drink, you'll be alerted to it.
Put it on here. This thing's already all scratched up.
I know, sorry. It's just that this microphone is like better sound, but then it's like this swinging bar.
Welcome to our Thursday live stream. If you're new here, our Thursday live streams are just our chance to hang out with our community.
What are you guys up to?
Are all about community. It's also your chance to get some of your questions answered. So you can go ahead and type your questions into the chat. Best way for us to see them is type question and then put your question, or you can use the super chat function if you want to make sure we don't miss it. It's not that we only do super chats, but when you do a super chat, it does highlight our screen and lets us know that you have a question.
I was thinking back over this week and some of the things that we talked about. Celsius, fruit, Jonathan Shane suggesting women may need some carbs. Like, what kind of upside down world are we in this week, Joe?
All I know is right now I'm looking in the monitor up there.
Okay.
And my face looks 10 pounds thinner than this morning.
I know. Water.
It's so weird.
Crazy.
I don't know if it was just stress from yesterday, but I woke up this morning feeling like super bloated.
I woke up this morning.
All my clothes fit.
Feeling
But I
fine.
was editing the video for our reaction to day 3 of RV Unplugged, and I'm looking at my face, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And now it's like much thinner than it was in that video. I gotta look at this in full screen.
Truly believe.
Yeah, that looks much different.
I'm telling you what. Like the up and down of the day, it changes things. Can you please have grace for yourself? Because you probably see yourself in different light and different angles. Look at yourself in a picture, maybe in a group of friends, and you're like, wait, I'm not going out of my house anymore if it looks like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm telling you, it's up and down all day long. Yeah. All day long.
It's just super weird, and that's why you just have to know you're doing the right thing. I'm basically eating beef and eggs right now. Just because I'm craving beef and eggs, and we have a lot of eggs.
I have weirdly been craving eggs.
You took a corned beef out of the freezer. I cooked that.
Did.
We ate a whole corned beef between yesterday and today.
Yeah. No regrets.
It was good.
Delicious.
Corned beef and eggs. That's what I've eaten for 2 days.
I think what it's been good is because it's been a minute.
I think it's the weather.
It is. It's been some weird weather.
They literally closed down I-95 in Fort Lauderdale Airport yesterday because the rain is so bad.
Can I just say I love you guys so much? Thank you for your encouragement about my axe throwing skills.
JJ said, I think we need to call her Little David.
Yeah.
Right between the
eyes.
You did so good. If you haven't seen RV Unplugged season 2, it's not season 3 yet, episode 3, go check it out on the RV Unplugged website or YouTube channel.
You guys are going to be on season 3. I really truly believe that somebody from the Two Crazy Ketos family is going to like come to one of these finale rallies and like show up and be the next contestant.
I do want to say, so last night they did bring viewers on to win stuff.
Hey, Lisa.
And Jujubee went on, and she got the question right.
She did, and they've got to like fix. They have to give back to her a prize of some sort.
They're working on it.
Congratulations.
I don't know exactly what they're doing, but she'd gotten the question right, and for some reason they had it down wrong.
It was funny because
there's a lot. Like Todd and Tony are doing a lot. You got to realize they're doing this all themselves.
So last night I could see Mandy in the chat going, "That was correct. Jujubee is right."
But they don't see it.
And they're not seeing it.
They can't see it because when they pull it up, and again, I know because when they have the guests on, they can't see the chat.
So she keeps saying, no, she was right. No, it was definitely Matt. And then she goes, I think it was that guy with this prosthetic leg, but it's like his wife. That's like saying, I'm pretty sure I know what this person looks like. It was so cute.
So they did go into the RV Unplugged insiders Facebook group and put they're gonna make it right. They're reviewing footage and they screwed up, but they're working on something, and so I'm sure they're gonna get a hold of Jujubee. But it was kind of cool.
Jujubee's here.
Bringing on guests last night.
I was just excited
because
I got to see her new pupster. How cute is that dog? Super adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to see the pupster in live time.
Today we went on a road trip looking at property. It didn't work.
That's not where we're gonna live. Cross that off.
Well, it's so funny. You look at pictures. Picture looked amazing, right across the street from Lake Okeechobee. A little bit more money, but we're like, hey, I'm just gonna give you some ridiculous lowball offer. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna offend you, and you're gonna tell me no. But it didn't look anything like the picture, and it turned out 50% of the property was a swamp.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of narrowed it down to the frost-proof area.
It's looking better for frostproof.
God showed us that like 4 years ago.
I know. I think that was someplace that we've been looking at for a while, but anyway, so it was a nice road trip today.
It was a great.
I enjoyed your company.
It was a really good road trip.
What's up? The Keto Road is here. Good to see you, Jonathan.
If you haven't seen the video that we uploaded earlier today, which was Jonathan's talk on the low carb cruise. We still have to edit ours, but I wanted to get Jonathan's up mostly so that my daughter-in-law doesn't kill me.
Yes, she wanted to see it.
I just want to reiterate, if you think that you may benefit from something that Jonathan was talking about,
contact him.
Do not do it on your own.
Yeah.
Okay. You can screw a lot of things up.
I'm excellent at screwing things
up. If
up.
you do it on your own, at least get going with him for a month or two and then try to experiment. But it's also a slow process. Again, he talked about 8 weeks just for an induction phase. So this is not an overnight, let's just start eating a bunch of sweet potatoes kind of thing. And it's not for everybody.
It isn't. Now, I did see that there were some QQQs in the chat if you want to go back and check that out.
We'll go in and check them all out.
But yes.
You can talk while
it was awesome. And it felt... I was just so thankful. I'm excited for you guys to see our reaction video. Like, that's going to come out tomorrow.
I just finished editing it.
Yeah, so that took a little bit of extra time.
We're going to put that up in the morning. You're going to premiere it tomorrow morning.
One thing that came out of that was the fact that you had to shave off some stuff because we never know where the episode is going to end.
Yeah, so we film those behind the scenes at the end of the day.
Right.
And some of the ones moving forward, there's multiple. There's like, we start the day and end the day. There's not a lot of, stop looking up there.
Jen said, hi, Joe. Hi, Lizzie Borden. I love it.
Moving forward, there's not a lot of actual behind the scenes clips so much as there's our reactions before and after the day, only because the more we were in the middle of competitions, the more they're like, you can't have your phones and cameras out for continuity. Like, what if a camera catches you in the background playing on your phone? So we became more and more limited to like just downtime, which was mostly in our RV. Vicky said that the Axe game was great.
Thank you.
Good job, Rachel.
Thanks for being there last night.
Patty said I can't look at myself in the mirror or a picture because some old lady keeps getting in the way. That's how I feel.
Sometimes I look and you're especially when I am rocking out. I don't know if I'm the only person who employs rock music in my vacuuming and mopping the floors and laundry. Like, I totally just rock out when I'm doing chores. And sometimes I will just like rock out and I wind up in the bathroom in front of the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my mom. No, it's me. It's me. It happened.
Matt said, Sarah has a great idea. Make a couple of contestants living in an RV with no RV knowledge and see how they would go.
Ooh,
here's the thing.
I think that's interesting.
Other than emptying a black tank and learning how to handle power.
Of the power.
Living in an RV is no different than a hotel. Well, what I mean by that is, okay, so for example, our old RV was a 30 amp rig.
It was.
So 30 amps. That means you have 30 amps coming in.
All day long.
You have your air conditioner, your microwave, a blow dryer. You can't turn everything on at the same time.
But that's a lot in a lot of houses.
Breaker. It's like our house here. Yeah. Like if you turn 3 things on in the kitchen at the same time, you blow a breaker.
If you have an older home.
You have to learn how to remember to do that. So we would have the air conditioner going, the microwave, and then Rachel would turn on the coffee pot and it would pop a breaker. But other than that, an RV is just a fancy hotel. It's fancier than most hotels.
I
But I
love
do
you,
think that's a really good
Jonathan.
idea.
You're so sweet.
Sarah said today I learned that one of my associate's degree teachers is a diabetic educator for one of my patients.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's really interesting.
JJ said, Joe, what do you
JJ.
think of the Apple Intelligence coming in the fall? I have not watched anything from WWDC.
I can't believe it.
It's
Who
all
are
week
you?
long. Well, we're busy. We have a lot going on. And the one thing is I need to upgrade my studio computer because I need to upgrade this computer. So I want to take the one from my office and put it in here and then get a new one from my office. And I was hoping they were going to release a new studio version of the Mac. And they didn't at the last event a couple of weeks ago. So I thought maybe WWDC, but all of the things they haven't introduced another computer. So a lot of WWDC is like software related, like more for developers, things like that. So I haven't looked at all of the tech. I saw the thumbnail from Max Tech basically saying it was Elon Musk is wrong. Because
That can't be it.
it's a technology thing, you know. I think Elon Musk is brilliant when it comes to technology, but I think Apple is pretty up there as well. The one thing they do both have in common is like proprietary, but there's a thing to be said about that.
You know what else they have in common? Joe Stauffer.
That's true.
Starlink, Apple, everything.
I will say, okay, it's a little violent. But if you like movies
Okay.
that have this kind of stuff, like technology thing and what happens when technology goes wrong.
Okay.
And if you like Jason Statham movies,
Oh, yes, I do.
go watch The Beekeeper.
The Beekeeper?
I don't know who told us about it. Somebody told us about it on the low carb cruise.
Whoever you are, we followed that direction.
That movie was awesome.
It was rad.
It's like Jason Statham, but it's a John Wick type of movie,
Yes.
but Jason Statham.
The beating up is pretty like brutal, kind of like a John Wick. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I'm gonna take this pencil and like kill 4 guys with it.
When he goes through and like single-handedly takes down 20 Secret Service agents and
But somehow anybody that's like an innocent or like a hardworking police officer that's like not on the take never hurts them. Like somehow he
gets them out of the way, but he doesn't.
He wounds
doesn't kill
them.
them.
No.
But it's anyway, really, really good movie.
Really good.
But no, JJ, I haven't seen any of it yet. I will at some point. Debbie said, question, but not a question. My son is going to smoke ribs in the new grill I got him on Sunday for
Yum.
me and him on Father's Day.
How nice.
That's awesome.
Okay, wait. Do you like beef ribs or pork ribs better, Debbie? Just asking for a friend.
Let's see.
It is.
Matt said that Beekeeper is an amazing movie. I heard
was good.
It is a really good movie, and I feel like the way it ended, it could become like a John Wick with like one after the other after the other. Like,
It feels.
I don't want
like
to just give everything away.
It's
but
like a
it
lot-
ends with on an open note.
Right. It's kind of like every Sylvester Stallone movie, right? Like we could continue this if I feel like I want to pick it up later.
Keto Road said, most important things. How do you feel about episode 3?
Oh, I was pumped.
Pumped, but like you have to kind of see next week.
Yeah.
Because again, it ended on a cliffhanger. It definitely we talk about that in our behind the scenes that we filmed today, like our reaction to actually seeing the episode. Going into day 3, our entire team was really discouraged because we lost every single challenge on day 2.
Right.
So Rachel winning, and it really wasn't Rachel winning. I mean,
It was the team.
It was a team effort. The girls carried the team.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that we went to the axe throwing thing that the guy who was teaching us how to do it said girls do better.
Yeah, so make sure.
Because guys go in and try to throw hard, and it's not about strength, it's about technique.
If you've never
like lifting weights.
done that before, like I was actually telling Matt, I think in the chat
I want to do
earlier,
a 2KK meetup there.
I think
It's right there in Lakeland.
I think it would be really fun for
Decent
that.
room, lots of stuff to do.
Yeah.
They have food. Because they did provide some food for us. We didn't eat a lot of it, but they had a spinach dip that was really good. It was like a spinach artichoke dip.
James said that the Beekeeper, like any movie that has clandestine operations is right up my alley. Then you would love it.
If you want me to do comments, we got to look down here because now I'm going to reread that comment.
It's okay. It's good. I like saying James's name more than one time.
Okay.
Also, hi, Lisa.
Carrie said I was watching Jonathan's video with carbs and still watching it.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, and listen, He really is speaking to women, but there are things we can learn
Yes.
from there as a man, especially for supporting the women in our lives. But I think that, again, you can work with Jonathan even as a man. And I think in certain circumstances, especially if you're somebody like me under a lot of stress, or if you're like Jonathan, an endurance runner and things like that, it could benefit. But again, you want to work with somebody. Vicky said, just want to say hi. I use
Hi.
Keto Chow. I just ordered more to use
Awesome.
for camping, one in coffee, and I'm good to gold. Prospect all day until dinner.
You are gold prospecting. How freaking cool is that?
Needs to get with
Andrew.
Andrew.
Oh my gosh. In Alaska. How neat is that?
Let's see. People talking to Jonathan.
Oh, good.
Chris said, end of the day, end of the episode.
Who knew? I know, right? But we did have to shave off a little because there, it ends on a cliffhanger. So you can tell that there's something going on. We don't find out we didn't find out last night what was going on with the scrolls. Who picked what happened.
Right.
So we had to shave our comments about that off of this week's reaction.
Adam's got a really good question. Will exogenous ketones break a fast? Absolutely.
It is a fuel.
Okay. And I'm going to say this. Anybody who tells you otherwise is, in my personal opinion, incorrect.
Say, get out of here.
Exogenous ketones are a fuel. So if you look at oxidative priority, first of all, figure out what you're fasting for, okay? Especially if you're fasting for autophagy, if you're trying to not give yourself fuel so that you can burn fat. Oxidative priority is the order in which what your body uses for fuel. The very first thing your body will ever use for fuel would be alcohol if you consume it, because it's a poison and it wants to get rid of it, and it cannot store any of that at all. It can't store it.
Can't store alcohol.
So if you consume alcohol, your body immediately uses that for fuel and shuts everything else down, which is why all alcohol, I don't care what anybody else says, but all alcohol will temporarily kick you out of ketosis and ketogenesis, regardless of what the meter says. I love the folks at Keto Mojo. However, just because you have 0.5 ketones, which is some magic number that everybody has come up with, just because you have 0.5 ketones does not mean that your body is in ketosis.
Indigo Neely's here.
Ketosis is, the definition of ketosis is your body is using ketones for fuel. But that meter is only telling you what's in your blood. Just because it's in your blood doesn't mean your body's using it, because your body throughout the day will use glucose. Jonathan could tell you that. Because your body does need a little bit of glucose, so it will make it and use it.
Pretty amazing.
And if you consume alcohol, your body will use that alcohol first for fuel, which means at that time when you drink that alcohol for, it could be a couple of days depending on how much you drink, your body will not be in ketosis, and that's why the ketones won't go down in your blood. They'll stay there. So you're going to look at that meter and go, I'm still in ketosis. No, you're not, because your body just consumed alcohol. The second thing that your body uses for fuel after it gets rid of the alcohol is exogenous ketones.
Yeah.
Again, your body can't store them. It leaves them in the blood, but it can't store them. So your body will use exogenous ketones first. So if you consume exogenous ketones, you have broken a fast because you've given your body
some fuel.
After the exogenous ketones, then it gets to protein and then carbohydrates. But the protein is not for fuel. It's for building muscle, things like that.
We need those.
So, that's why we don't really suggest using exogenous ketones for weight loss, because you're getting in the way of using the other fuels, like the food that you're eating as well as your fat. So exogenous ketones, not only will it break a fast, it could actually hurt your weight loss if you're trying to lose weight.
It was interesting to listen to Dr. D'Agostino and his wife, Dr. D'Agostino.
Now, there is a time for them.
Talking about exogenous ketones, and I'm not sure when those talks from the Low Carb Cruise will be out. We didn't film those ones, but they were talking about their laboratory study of exogenous ketones and for therapeutic levels and that sort of thing. Much different than weight loss, obviously, but it was fascinating.
One of the things that was interesting about that talk that I found fascinating was everybody's like, I need my ketones really high. But in all of their research, they've learned if you take it over a certain level, and it doesn't have to be that much, it actually can go the opposite way. And they did a study in mice where they would put them on this little wheel and they would just keep trying to not fall off the wheel. because they weren't having anxiety. They were having anxiety of falling off the wheel. But when they gave them ketones,
Just the right amount.
they would not. Their
Just jump
anxiety
off.
would go away. They would just be fine, and they would jump off and not try to stay on there. But when they elevated the ketones beyond a certain level, the anxiety came back.
I can tell you,
And you've experienced
from
that.
my own N=1 experiment, that was a perfect
If your
way.
ketones go over like a 0.2, 0.3,
No, it's usually
or a two or a 3.
Over a 3. Over a 3, you think more is better, but for
But
me,
your anxiety all comes back.
3 more than 3 is like I can't
You
control
seem to
myself.
function best between a 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
So, but I thought I did find that very, very interesting. Nicoletta said, want to say thank you. You two have been
Hey.
an inspiration. I've learned so
Thank
much.
you.
Leaving my non-scale milestones, loving my non-scale milestones, 1 month of 10 grams of carbs or lower, inches are melting.
Yay!
OMG, the energy.
Seriously, that is so awesome. Thanks so much for sharing with us what's going on with you. We're so thankful for the opportunity to be a part of your keto journey. We certainly do not take that lightly, and we really, really appreciate you letting us know like how it's going. I love that.
Juliana said, I have a skinny mirror, $5 from Walmart. It's the best $5 I ever spent. Last thing I see the day before walking out of the
That
day.
is a
That's
great
awesome.
idea. Yeah, there are, we were talking to Steve from Keto Chow.
Because he used to do mirror work.
He used to install mirrors, and he said absolutely certain stores employed
stores.
in their dressing room a mirror that was just more flattering. So why can't I employ a flattering mirror? Why is that so, like, why shouldn't I? Right? You look good in it? Let's do it.
Jonathan said, have you seen Rachel? Of course she would be a boss axe thrower. She's a boss wife, a boss mother, a boss
I
influencer.
love you.
Never doubted it.
Thank you so much. I love you, Jonathan. And praying for his wife. She's got to be pretty soon.
She's coming up soon.
We're gonna have another baby in the keto family.
Chris said, you can't handle the unlimited cosmic power.
Oh my goodness. Talk about like amazingness. I'm going to have to post a picture of this in Mighty Networks and Facebook, but we've had redonkulous rain for the last 2 days. It was just crazy. Things are flooded everywhere. And so my mom calls me at like 8:15 right before we're getting on here. And I was like, what is mommy calling about? And I answered the phone and she goes, hey, amazing rainbow outside. You have to go check out this rainbow. So I went outside and sure enough, there is a crazy vivid rainbow outside. Beautiful.
Matt said, question, what are your thoughts on doing the repair tech program through the NRVTA? I think it's a great program. I actually want to do it. I've spoken to Todd about it when we have some downtime, trying to find some time and going and doing it. One of the things I really like about the NRVTA, so there's a few different ones. NRVTA is a private school. There's also the RVIA, which is kind of the organization who like oversees all of the RV builders. You can do a course with them where you do 40 hours online. You can also go up to Indiana and then you can do work up there, or you can do like 3 straight works up there. And then you on your own do continuing education to become a master tech.
I can see you actually moving your hair like
it's
into
getting worse.
your nose.
Yeah, I need to trim my mustache.
You need to trim your mustache.
So, but the Todd school is all like hands-on. One of the things that's nice about Todd school, especially when you compare it to the one that's in Tampa, is that you can do it in sections. So you can go over to the NRVTA for a week and do a week. Then you can go back later and do another week, and each one gives you new certifications. They also have an at-home course with labs, which we actually won. Right? I haven't started it yet.
Nope.
Because we've got other stuff going on as well. But I think I know a lot of people who've gone through it, and I know our friend Derek, who owns Cross Country Solar,
who
has like
macaroni.
an amazing RV. He's got over 6,000 watts of solar on his roof,
Dude.
and he can not only run all 3 air conditioners in his RV, he can plug another RV into it and run their air conditioners as well. That's how much battery power he has. And him and his wife, with their children, travel the country installing solar systems and never plug in. They don't go to RV parks.
They got littles too.
They got little ones, but he's got so much power on board, and he's so knowledgeable.
He's got the power.
He went through Todd's course as well through the NRVTA, and everybody I've spoken to, I know Phil has done a few of the different courses there.
Matt, you'd be awesome.
We're trying to convince Anthony to go, but he doesn't want to leave his bride to be for 3 weeks. I'm like, it's 3 weeks.
I don't blame him. I've met her. I've seen her. She's lovely. Awesome. So I get it. I totally get it.
But yeah, I think it's a really, really good school, and the people that run it really care, and everybody I know that's gone through has gotten a lot of knowledge
after
out
all
of
this rain, look forward to seeing flies in our videos because they're going to be a thing.
Sean said they're having Diabetes Awareness Month at work. The first thing it says is you need to eat 30 grams of fiber.
Right? And then you need to call my mom, who followed everything the doctor was telling her for 20 plus years until she started keto and put her diabetes into remission by doing the exact opposite of that thing.
Oh, Juliana said, I feel like Bronson and Natalie talked about that movie
Possibly.
before. I don't know. I know that's not, we were just sitting having a conversation with someone. I know it wasn't Bronson, but there was.
Like it was over dinner.
It was at dinner.
Yeah.
And there was another TV series, because we were talking about, I love movies like Vikings and those kind of TV shows.
And they were suggesting that Black Sails pirate
But I had
show.
seen that, and then there was another one that somebody said to watch on Netflix or something, and I don't remember the name of it.
All I know
is it started with an M.
All I know is there's 4 more episodes of Bridgerton out.
That show is naughty.
I know, but it's really good. It's really good. I can fast forward through anything that's too much information and just get to the lovey-dovey stuff.
James said any movie that has clandestine operations is right up my alley.
You're right.
I love all those kind of movies.
You would reread that. You're accurate about that. You know that. It's self-awareness, as Jonathan was talking about.
Chris said, Miriam just reminded me that we have an appointment in 5 minutes. Guess I got to go. Catch you guys later. I meant to tell Chris about those new sheets that I got from my Bamboo X1C. Bubble Stuff said, you need to give Rachel props for bringing it in when it was clutch. Oh, believe me, I have given her nothing but props.
Yeah.
She did it. I was so proud of her that day. I mean, and when I rewatched it, I was proud of her.
We have not yet watched that episode with the kids because they were working last night, and so I'm looking forward to watching it with the boys.
Neely said,
hey, Neely.
Adding some carbs has absolutely been the right choice for me, but having the direction from the keto road has been invaluable in the process. So great.
Yes, I think that's super, super important.
Carrie, Joe, is there anything that I can do naturally for kidney stones and bladder stones to break them down naturally? Remember, number one, we are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but I can tell you overall, using some lemon juice as well as apple cider vinegar seems to help a lot of people with breaking up kidney stones.
Yeah, with the mother. You got to get the apple cider vinegar.
Real apple cider vinegar.
With the mother in it. It says it right on there. With the mother.
See, Matt said anything acidic, lemonade, orange juice. What I recommend is you take a little bit of stevia, a couple drops of stevia, or allulose. If you have allulose, that'll really work. With some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of lemon juice, and water. Drink it as a drink.
It's actually tasty. It's not horrible. It's actually good.
Yeah, you don't need a lot, like a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Sarah said, I had a doctor's appointment today. Blood pressure was 144 over 90 going in, 129 over 68 on the way out. My blood pressure is always up when anxious. And it was a lady doctor appointment.
I tell you what, it was Dr. D'Agostino that said he has white coat hypertension.
I get white coat syndrome.
I do too.
My blood pressure is always elevated first when I walk in. I always make.
And your mom was a doctor.
Yep.
It still makes you nervous.
No, well, it's just the nervousness isn't coming from the doctor. The nervousness is wondering what the results are. So going in like, I can't have high blood pressure. I can't have high blood pressure. I can't have high blood. Guess what? You're causing stress, and stress raises your blood pressure.
Something that Dr. D'Agostino actually suggested, because he knows that about himself, is he asks them to take his blood pressure 3 times. 3 times in a row. When he goes in, he just says, hey, you're not going to get the right result from me on the first time, so just make sure you take it multiple times.
Sabrina said, I almost forgot about this. Just got back to the campsite from Tenley's ball game.
How nice.
She'll be playing the championship game tomorrow night on her 9th birthday. That's awesome.
Happy birthday.
Exposing darkness, which enhances the flavor of keto chow? Butter or heavy whipping cream? Butter. So heavy whipping cream will make it thicker. Butter will enhance the flavor.
Butter is better.
Jen, Monday's live stream, you mentioned good idea. Can you talk about the benefits of and what they taste like? So benefits, they will help to it'll help to lower, or actually I shouldn't say lower. Balance and control your blood sugar. That does not mean go eat an Oreo cookie.
Right.
But it means that especially like if you do some exercise, it'll help for balancing and recovery a little bit better.
I think
it's got some different vitamins and things in it.
I think that it tastes kind of like a LaCroix, something like that. It's
non-carbonated though. It's not really as carbonated as a LaCroix. It's like in the middle of that.
It's in the middle because it is carbonated, but it's not got as many bubbles. It's not going to make you belch quite as hard. Excuse me, I find that it has a bit of a calming effect on me, more of like a relaxation where maybe, coffee gets you going, like, let's go. The good idea drink kind of just makes me, like, I'm calm. I feel calm with it when I drink it.
I did say Carrie say that I can't really afford to buy anything more right now. Listen, apple cider vinegar, you can get it for a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, buying some lemon juice or some apple cider vinegar and using that, even if you don't have a liquid sweetener, is still going to be cheaper than even the gas it's going to take to go to the doctor. And most likely you're going to rather do that than have to go. I don't even want to have to go sit in a doctor's office.
Right. I find that you can find like a small bottle. It's not like you're having to buy a big giant bottle, but they do sell them in smaller bottles. And you don't have to buy the Bragg's version if you don't want. Most of the stores have their own generic version of it. You're just looking for the one that actually has the mother in it. And they'll say that on the label.
Bubble stuff. I tested my glucose this morning and my ketones. My glucose was like 56. My ketones was 0.1 or something like that. Okay. Generally, your ketones will go up. I always find for me, ketones are lower in the morning. Your body will a lot of times use them. If your glucose is there, I make sure you're washing everything. If you've got ketones in your blood, that means your body's producing them. I would check it a little bit later on. See where things are going. Some people, especially like I know for myself, I know what happens we were talking to Rebecca from PhD when we were on the low carb cruise. I know what happens with Robert. As you've been doing keto for a while, your body gets really efficient in just using those fatty acids directly for fuel, and it doesn't have to convert them into ketones. And so a lot of times you don't have higher ketones. But if you're not consuming glucose, the only thing left for your body to use for fuel would be fat. The only other thing it can do would be turn the protein into glucose. It doesn't really want to do that because it's not very efficient. I always like to use this analogy is think about it this way. If your car were to get 4 miles per gallon, that would be fat. So 4 miles per gallon, body's burning on fat. If you're burning protein for fuel, it gets 1 mile per 4 gallons. It's not efficient for your body to use protein for fuel. It will do it when it doesn't think it has enough fat coming in and it doesn't want to tap into your fat stores, which is why we always tell you, and I know Jonathan talked about, minimum fat is always 50%. That's always your minimum. Your goal is always ketones. So a lot of people get on a keto and they're like, I have a lot of fat to lose, so I shouldn't consume any fat. But what ends up happening is you will quickly slower your metabolism down because your body doesn't want to get rid of the excess fat because you're not giving it enough fuel. You need that fat to prime the pump. And a lot of people come in afraid of fat. I see it a lot with keto chow where they're like, well, I'm doing my keto chow, I'm only using 1 tablespoon of butter. So if you're not eating a lot of fat because you think that you don't need to because you have a lot of fat, your body will start not using your fat stores. You're not giving it enough as you eat. And so you'll end up with a higher glucose because it's going to start taking that protein because it's afraid to burn off the fat. So that's why you need to make sure you're consuming enough fat. But if you're consuming a decent amount of fat and you are not eating carbs, your body has no choice but to run off of fatty acid. Now, if you're way overeating, that's another possibility. If you're eating a lot more fuel than you need, so if your body only needs, say, 1,800 to 2,000 calories, and you're eating 2,500 calories, yeah, then you'll also have lower ketones. The only way to get higher ketones is increasing the fat, the right types of fat, and then also not eating carbohydrates. That all has to balance out.
Hey, Andrew. Beautiful Robin F asked if you could use butter in keto chow as an ice cream. And since you were just talking about that, yeah, absolutely.
That's how we pretty much make all our ice cream.
Make it like a regular shake and then go ahead and pour it into that creamy.
So, I always recommend 3 to 4 tablespoons of melted butter minimum. You're going to make it just like a keto chow. So make it melt. You're going to use warm water. You got to put it in a blender. If you don't put it in a blender, the butter is going to re-solidify and it's going to be a waxy mess. But just like a regular keto chow, pour it in your creamy chainer and freeze it. Dorothy's got a great question. What kind of macros would my son need to gain weight? He's 5'11". He weighs 98 pounds. He has been 98 pounds for years. We did everything his doctor said. Drink whole milk, eat lots of junk. That's like, what a horrible recommendation from a doctor. Wow, eat lots of junk. So in other words, make him a diabetic. I'm curious. We'd need a lot more details for that.
Yeah, we would.
But here's what I'm going to say is, first of all, I'm assuming if you're working with a doctor, the doctor is checked. But if he's 5'11" and only weighs 98 pounds, if he's eating a lot, please make sure you're getting him tested for type 1 diabetes.
That was my first thought.
Because remember, so type 1 diabetes means your body's not producing insulin. You will never gain weight if your body's not producing insulin. Like, that's one of the prides. How you can almost always tell a type 1 diabetic is they're skinny unless they're overdosing their insulin. But that's basically, he just needs to eat more protein and fat. He doesn't need carbohydrates to bulk up.
Right.
He needs protein and fat, but he's going to need to eat a lot more. 5'11" man, he needs to be eating 150, 200 grams a minimum a day. That is a bare minimum. 150 to 200 pounds a day, grams rather, a day of protein. He needs to be lifting weight. And then if he's trying to gain weight, I'm going to tell you he needs to be probably well over 200, maybe even 300.
Okay, he's not diabetic. They had him check for it. That's
okay, and again, I'm not trying to scare you. It's when someone says they're that thin.
Yeah.
It's always something that I look at, especially if you can't gain weight. But the protein, building muscle, and eating fat, and you don't need the carbs. I mean, whole milk will make you fat, but it's because of sugar. And it's like that also can make you a diabetic. Like, right. I don't think eating junk is an answer. I think eating the right healthy foods with the right types of fat. Because you can gain weight on keto. You just have to find the right proportions. Lisa said, time is going too fast. I need to start heading to bed.
Night, Lisa.
Night, everybody. John said, too crazy keto. Rachel said, why cantaloupe? Chris, Cooking Nashville has an answer. Creamy popsicles.
Oh, there you go. Good job.
Very good.
That's kind of something we said yesterday also with, like, you putting it into, like, Amazon has for really cheap. You can either get molds or you can get those things that are like a flavor ice. So it's like a, a plastic thing, and it comes with the little funnel, and you can just pour them right into that and make those into popsicle sticks like we said yesterday.
Iris, help me understand the whole ketones. I'm new to this whole lifestyle.
Well, welcome, Iris.
I don't want to spend too long on it. Okay, so I'll help you understand ketones. So your body basically uses two things for fuel, fat or carbohydrates. Okay, those are the two primary fuels. Yes, it can use exogenous ketones. Yes, it can use alcohol when you consume it. Yes, it can use protein when it needs to. But the two primary fuel sources for your body are fat and carbohydrates. When you're not consuming carbohydrates, glucose, your body will become fat adapted. So if you ever go talk to like a vet for farm animals, like especially for cows, if they're having a problem with the cow, one of the first things they do is check to see if the cow has ketones. Because if the cow has ketones, it means it's not eating.
Right.
Because it's now using its fat for fuel, because it's what do they eat? They eat carbohydrates. They eat grass. So if they have ketones in their blood, then and in their urine, then that means the cow's not eating. So when you're not consuming carbohydrates, your body's survival mechanism basically is to use the fat. Your body does need a little bit of glucose, so it can do that and create its own through a process called gluconeogenesis, where it can take fatty acids as well as protein and turn it into the little bit of glucose you need. Ketones cross the blood-brain barrier easier, and so your body's liver will take the fatty acids and turn them into ketones, which will then float around in your blood, and your body can use them for fuel as quick energy, kind of like when you have sugar floating around in your blood. So the whole thing is that when you first get started on keto, after about 3 to 5 days of not consuming carbohydrates, your body will have a lot of ketones, but it has not yet figured out to use that optimally.
Right. They're just like, what is all of this stuff?
So it'll dump a lot of them into the urine, which is why if you do a urine stick in the first week or 2 weeks of being in keto, it turns bright purple. Once your body becomes fat adapted, which means now it begins to utilize those ketones, it begins to utilize the fat, that stick will actually not be as dark. And that's because now your body's using the ketones.
And honestly, I see her follow-up question is, which test kit do you use to test ketones? You don't really need
You don't need to test it.
Because it's one of those things, once you are not giving yourself the carbohydrates, your body has no alternative. So sometimes people are like, I want to have eyes on this process, and they buy sticks that they sell even at Walmart. They're just little urine test strips. And that's what they're looking for start with.
I do recommend those if you're brand new to keto in the first 2 weeks to a month, use the sticks.
It's neat to see it happen.
It gives you that little jolt of encouragement when you're 3 days in, 4 days in, 5 days in, and all of a sudden you see that stick turn purple and you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm not eating carbs, and here's the result. But I do want people to be aware that color will go down as your body begins to use it.
You're not doing anything wrong.
After that, so long as you're keeping your total carbs under, I would say 20 to 40, even 50 if you're brand new on keto.
Total carbs.
Total, not net. Don't listen to people with net carbs. It's a made-up thing by the food industry.
It's a trap.
Your body will absolutely go into ketogenesis and ketosis because you're not giving it enough fuel. It needs more than 20 to 50 grams of carbs to fuel itself through the day. The only other reason to test is if you really want to stay on top of things, but it can get expensive at like $1 a test.
Therapeutic level.
Or if you're looking for therapeutic levels like for brain function. But if you're trying to lose weight, you don't want those therapeutic levels.
No.
Okay, because again, that will have a different set for you, a different result. Juliana said, I'm about to up my carbs to summertime carbs. Tomatoes are green on the vine. I don't worry, my summer carbs are like 30 total, but I'm super excited for it.
Well, and you're growing your own, so I'm excited.
That's the key.
I'm excited about that.
Denise said, we need rain so bad, dry as a bone, doing a lot of watering the garden. Everything was dead here. A couple
of days ago, it was just
everything was dead here.
Desert. Absolute desert.
We're actually behind. We should be getting these rains. We should have been getting them in May. And it's now, mid-June is when we're first starting.
Yeah.
Gosh, I need to shave my mustache.
I know, because you look like you're picking your nose the whole day. No, it's not. I can see them. But
it's one that's bothering me.
You have like Tuscan Raiders going on up in there.
Is that better?
Yeah. No,
Thank you.
It's
Thank
good.
you. Marianne's here, said it's been raining and storming all around us, but not a drop in my part of Jacksonville. I'm going to Jacksonville.
I'm going to Jacksonville. That's crazy.
Jen said, give us some rain up here in Ohio. Hasn't rained in over a week. Going to be mid-90s next week.
Oh, my goodness. And that just becomes, like, oppressive, right? But here's my thing, and I do not care what I look like. I know that that's hard for people to believe, Joe, but I don't care what it looks like. I have been known to blow up a kiddie pool, put it in the front yard, fill it up with water, and sit in the pool. Like, then run around with the kids and do things, get hot, go back to the kiddie pool, sit my butt in the kiddie pool.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I can stand heat-wise if I have access to water.
I just need water.
I need water in some
We used
way,
to
shape,
go
or form.
camping.
If I could just put my feet in it.
What was the name of that place?
When we were at Fish Eating Creek?
Fish Eating Creek over near Clewiston. Fish Eating Creek has a creek.
No
like
kidding.
a river that runs through it.
A river runs through
And
it.
it has a big lake with a lot of alligators.
Which they don't bother you.
And Rachel would go sit in that water with the alligator. There goes the alligator. She's like, listen, it's 95 degrees out. I'm putting my butt in the water. Here
hot.
comes the alligator. The only problem at Fish Eating Creek, which is one of the reasons, well, they don't allow RVs on the creek side, and we want to be near the water. But the problem is everybody feeds the alligators there, which
They're
means
like, hey.
now they're not afraid of you.
No.
Alligators are afraid of people until you feed them.
Yes. Juju goes, pick Joe's nose. Do it. We're all family here.
Lynn said, how did the team celebrate the win last night? Okay, well, we can't give away too much because you haven't seen the end
What
of the
happens
night.
of that night.
But I will say this. Overall, at the end of every night,
It was the best hug ever.
there was never a lot of celebrating because there was a lot of collapsing.
Yeah, you're so tired.
So I just even remember the first night when our team won the margaritas, everybody sat around, had one margarita. We did not have a margarita, although Rachel did have her very first ever shot of tequila.
One tequila floor.
But literally it was, okay, they're going to make margaritas, and everybody went to sleep.
Yeah.
Then they had the pizza night. I forgot about the burgers. They had the pizza night. The blue team sat around making pizzas. Red team went over and made pizzas as well. We did not, because by the time we did, I'm like, I'm tired.
Well,
because
they
there's
don't do
one
one at a
oven and
time.
14 pizzas being made.
And it was beautiful.
It was awesome.
It was
I
really
would buy that
beautiful.
for my stove in a heartbeat.
I
But
would
I have
too.
the medium-sized one. I think they only have it for the big one.
So it was really cool because, Solo Stove has this attachment where you can cook a pizza right
top.
on it. And so what they were doing is every single person on the blue team got their own pizza.
And then red team went over and
And they
made
had
them.
all of these different toppings, and then they would just make the pizza, and then they would cook them. And God bless Rob. Rob was like so sweet. He was like helping out like the process of getting the cook, the pizza cooked. But yeah, it was a long process.
So that the celebrating was pretty much collapsing, but most of the downtime was everybody just sitting in our tents and talking.
Immediately following the axe throwing competition, we did have a very warm hug and a celebration with one another. I think that it really was. I mean, I felt very encouraged by my teammates. My teammates, I think, realized how scared I was. And so it was really nice for us to share that moment together. That was really precious for me.
Juliana said, my husband's away for 6 weeks. Tell him
Ooh.
to go now when he doesn't have a wife and kids. Oh, Anthony.
Oh, okay.
I've tried.
Yeah.
We have tried.
We have to, because I was like, wait a minute, what?
Juliana said, Rachel, I watched them all. Sarah said, oh my goodness, the only patients I tell to poop 3 times a day have liver failure, and that is the only way to get the high ammonia levels down. Jeez, that is exhausting.
My gracious.
Matt said, I cried a little when you won.
I love you, Matt. Thank you for your encouragement.
Carla said, I would love Jonathan's help, but I can't afford a coach. Soon to be 69, keto for 9 years, and need help.
Carla, I would definitely recommend putting like a comment. Like if you have a question, Jonathan's like super nice and easy to get to know. So like if you have a question specifically, I would go ahead
Reach out to him on Instagram, send him an email.
Yep, or put a post on that video.
You may not be able to do like daily, but
if you have a
or
question,
weekly check-ins, but I know Jonathan well enough to know that he also cares about people.
So much so.
I mean, again, he had an amazing statement in his talk where he said some people want to be influencers
and some people want to influence.
some people want to influence.
He wants to influence.
He
people
wants to
for
influence.
Good.
He wants
really
to
does.
help people. So I know, again, he's not going to be like, okay, every week call me for free. But if you message him questions and tell him your situation, he will absolutely. I know Jonathan enough to know that he will help you.
He's a precious young man.
I have to remember that he's the age of my children.
I know.
But he doesn't act that way.
No, he's very mature. Well, I mean, our kids are mature.
Yes.
It's because it's your kid. That's what it is. It's not that they're not mature.
Juliana said they also walk you down a hump briskly so your heart rate is up with inflates blood pressure reading too. Sandy, so sorry I'm late. Had a hectic day. Lab draw drama, caretaker stress. But we had your lasagna recipe tonight because it's what we do every Thursday. Yummy, and thank you.
Oh, Sandy, thank you for letting us be a part of your Thursday. What a delicious way to have a Thursday. Because if we set up and did like a rotation of things that I like, and sometimes I think we should do that just because we just tend to be like, okay, what are we going to eat for dinner? Eggs. Just make some eggs and ground beef. Like, it's just so easy to do. But sometimes when I think to myself, oh, I want a beautiful different recipe, like lasagna is one of those things that I could eat on the regular.
Absolutely. I'm just avoiding cheese right now.
I really could.
Carrie said, I just have regular white vinegar. Can I use that mixed with water? You can, but apple cider vinegar is better. It's got more health benefits. Just, it's not super expensive. It's going to last you a long time. Just Bragg's is a really good version. Just get the one with the mother. It's super easy to know if it's had the mother. While it's still sitting on the shelf, pick it up, and there should be a whole bunch of sediment on the bottom.
Just kind of shake it up.
And then you shake it up. But if when it's just sitting on the shelf, there's no sediment on the bottom, that's not the one you want.
That's right.
You want to get it
if
with the mother.
If it's clear all the way through, which is what your distilled vinegar is going to look like. It's going to be just like clear all the way through.
Eileen said, my son has chronic kidney stones, 1 to 2 a month. He drinks lots of water to keep them small and not horrible. What is this one? Dr. Nelson.
Well, hello, Dr. Nelson.
When you are new to keto, it's a hard concept to understand. Eat more carbs, make you fat. Eat more fat, but not carbs, and you'll lose weight.
You're so right. It is.
Because we've been brainwashed to go the other way.
Dr. Barry had said, like, it really connected for me a couple of years ago when he said, we have this word fat, which in our language as fuel is a good thing. And then you have fat, and you see it as a negative, like an overweight thing. So it's really hard when you're like, I am trying to reduce what I see to be negative by increasing something that's got the same word. That's really, really hard, right? Because you're like, I want to be less fat, so less fat. Right. And you're like, no, if you want to be less fat, you need more fat. What?
Right.
That sounds weird in my brain.
It doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right.
But again, if you have to give your body fuel.
Exactly.
If you just don't eat, your body will lose weight for a little while.
Right.
Then it goes into shutdown mode.
I agree with Robin. We need another name for dietary fat or body fat. Seriously.
Yeah. Robin said...
the DF and the BF.
I've said this before, but it needs repeating. 2 Crazy Ketos. Thank you for autocorrecting our comments when you read them. It shows your common sense and support of the family.
Thank you.
I try. So I'm not always the greatest at it, but...
You know what makes me mad is that my phone can be like helpy helperman in a lot of things. Like I will intend to say something and my phone will send something different. And then when I want to send something and not look like a fool, it doesn't autocorrect me. And I send things like happy birthday with an F in the middle of it. And it's like, really? Because you autocorrected everything else today, but you can't even conceive that maybe I'm trying to say birthday and
I like
birthday.
it when my phone like autocorrects like we or where and it'll put the apostrophe when I don't want an apostrophe there. But then I'll type in don't and just be lazy and not put the apostrophe, and it'll just say, you misspelled this. Like, you know what the word is. Can't you just put the apostrophe in there?
I sent Joe...
And I dictate a lot of messages, and it always... and
it's bad. I sent Joe a text, and it was like, have a great day, honey, and it said, have a great day, homie. What? Why would you why? Why are you trying to fix this? I think what you mean to say is homie, not honey. What?
Ira said, hey, Rachel, I remember you mentioned being sensitive to sugar, and I think I've developed this because now if I eat anything that causes a spike in glucose, it makes me panicky. It's so weird. So the longer that you are keto, the more like you will be hypersensitive to sugar at the beginning. Now, it quickly goes away if you go back to consuming sugar.
But
it's not a bad thing.
The other thing that you notice when you start, like after give it a couple of months on keto, things start to have like a burst of flavor. You will have a piece of lettuce and you're like, this lettuce tastes the most lettucey ever. Like you taste beef, you taste eggs, and you're like, whoa, I taste everything.
Yeah.
And it's because sugar numbs our brain, numbs our palate. Everything tastes the same. When you start to have like just regular little whole ingredients together, all of a sudden your taste buds are able to come alive. Now we can sweeten that back up again and numb our taste buds again, but it really is, I think, one of the funnest, coolest things about keto is the opportunity to actually taste food, taste flavor, and the flavors taste different.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And it's funny, again, being 7 years on keto, I know that if I were to go eat a bunch of sugar, I could like really have some severe reactions.
I had a very severe reaction that
just
one time
because
I got a Coke.
my body is not used to it. So like I will tell people, listen, I can't have sugar. Like I have an allergy to sugar. And like there were times even during the filming of the show, I'm like, I need to make sure there's no sugar. I cannot have sugar.
Right.
We actually put in our medical form applying like I cannot have sugar.
It'll be
because
bad.
I don't know what's going to happen to me having not eaten any sugar for 7 years. Am I going to see stars?
I'm not going to be a great team player. I know that at the very least.
Right. And, you know, I don't want you to have to call a paramedic because all of a sudden, like, I almost have a seizure from having too much sugar because I haven't had it in so long. Sean said, I can always tell it's time to shave my mustache when the hairs start getting pulled out from on the tab of a can. So for me, they go in my mouth. I start biting on them. I don't understand how people like Todd can have this big long mustache because it irritates me. But usually what happens for me is I always shave the very top up here when I go diving.
Yeah.
But because of the weather, I haven't been able to get in the water. And so I try not to do it in between because then it gets stubble. So like if I shave it and then I can usually go a couple of days, or if it's long, I can do it. But like when that in-between point, I can't get the mask to seal.
It's really cute to see like you and Chris in like diving season because you both like, you cut the line down really long so that you can get a good grip on your mask.
Yeah.
But you look like Amish.
Sorry.
Or something.
Debbie
Amish
said,
mustache.
question, is it true best needs to be no more 12 hours fasted before having labs drawn? Since my appointment is at 11, should I eat something more before I go to bed? I know in talking to Dave and some other people and a lot of the research I've done is, they do. If you fast too long, it could give you different results than what you're looking for. Like the results for a glucose may not be proper. A result for your HDL or your LDL, it may be off if you fast too long or if you don't fast enough. So I know that they usually the doctor will tell you how long they want you fasted.
Right.
But I know for the most part, it's usually somewhere between 8 to 12 hours is, I know a lot of times they tell you not after midnight, don't eat after midnight.
Because gremlins.
I think 11 o'clock in the morning is a good time for getting a lab drawn. Like, I don't think that getting labs drawn at like 7, 8, 9 in the morning is a great idea.
Right.
And I know we have found this from our own personal experience because now you're dealing with the dawn phenomenon. So you go in 9 o'clock in the morning, you get your labs drawn, good chance your fasting glucose is elevated because everybody experiences the dawn phenomenon. And if you don't know what that is, for anybody who's watching, when your body gets up in the morning, for the first couple of hours, you have an elevated glucose. It's your body's way of waking you up. It's completely normal, natural, and you want to have it. So if you go get your lab drawn within an hour or 2 hours of getting up, you could have an elevated glucose.
So I might have a little bite. One more before you go to bed, probably.
Sabrina said, not sure
Sabrina.
if you missed it, but can you sing happy birthday to
Tenley?
Yes.
Sure.
I'll show it to her tomorrow at the game.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tenley. Happy birthday to you and many more, so many more, and good luck during your big game tomorrow. We know you are going to give it your absolute best, Tenley. You're the gift.
Sean said, typing comments on my phone really makes me look like a fool.
Oh,
me too.
Oh, I saw Mommy was in here. She will tell you some of the funny things that she sends as a text message because she usually dictates to it. It's hilarious because what will happen is in the middle of her sending a text message, like her dog Boaz will do something and you will get in the middle of the text message, like, you know, please come over. We're going to go do this. No, Boaz, don't get away from there. In the middle of the text. It's so stinking cute.
Dorothy said, I didn't get to go eat dinner until 8:30 p.m. Now I need to stay up until around 11. Only problem is I have to be up at 3 a.m. for work. Really need to figure out a better schedule. Why do you need to stay up till 11? I would try to get the bed.
Well, it's 9:30 now, so maybe it's like I've got to wait another hour.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Andrew said I switched to full face mask. Much better seal for facial hair. Plus my jaw doesn't get sore after 8 to 9 hour drive. Well, you're also diving for gold.
I know.
I've tried full face masks. They're nice, but especially as somebody who is a solo diver a lot, I prefer to not use them. It's a completely different technique. Some people swear by them, and when they go full face mask, they will never go back to another one.
Once you go full face mask, you never go back. Can I tell you, Andrew, I absolutely leapt in my seat when I saw the prospect last night of you saying like, hey, maybe for 2025, like I would sign up for like episode 4 or season 4 maybe of RV Unplugged. You would kick butt, dude. Like
there you go.
Amazing.
Dr. Nelson said 12 hours for lipids, 8 hours is enough for glucose. So 12 to 14 hours is my recommendation.
Thank
you very much. I appreciate that. Dr. Berry also says 12 to 14 hours. And that's pretty much where I've heard is like you don't really want to do a lot more than that. Debbie said draw requires a 10-hour fast or for babies under 2, draw prior to the next feeding.
Aww.
Okay.
For little babies having to get their blood drawn. That's the... Oh my gosh, anytime your baby has to get like a blood drawn or anything, right? Like you're so sad for them. And
they don't hurt nearly as much as us.
Because I know, but
they don't know what it means.
Their little face though.
I think adults panic more than
sometimes
children.
I would like make sure that I handed Caleb to like the nurse or something to hold because I wanted to be the comforter and not the bad guy that's like submitting him to like a blood draw. I'm the worst.
Okay, we are gonna get off. Again, for those of you who are also following RV Unplugged, we are going to upload our reaction video tomorrow morning.
Yay!
I'm not quite sure what time. I'm gonna guess somewhere around 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'll be there.
And we will premiere that. We also have another video coming out on both channels within the next day or two. We really appreciate you guys for joining us. Don't forget, we will be live again next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for Keto Beyond the Couch. And if you haven't already done it, go over to yesterday's live stream where we talked about fruit.
Yes.
And enter into the giveaway for Cantaloupe Keto Chow.
3 winners are going to be getting 3 packages.
3 people each. If you want to try out the new cantaloupe, use the link down below in the description. That will save you 10%. Everybody have a great night.
We love you guys.
Bye.